Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Mishaira binti Ahmad Nazri and my matric number is 265809. So I would like to give a speech about the funeral custom in Tibet. Hello everyone. How far did you know about funeral custom in Tibet? And have you ever heard about the funeral custom in Tibet? And have you ever did some knowledge and information about all the types of funeral that they had? I guess some of you only know a little bit of information about their funeral custom. So today, I would like to give a speech about funeral custom in Tibet and share with everyone about some of funeral custom that they have practiced when there is a death. Basically in Tibet, they have so many funeral customs. It is based on their belief. Every type of funeral custom in Tibet are unique. Besides, they have their own history and reason behind the type of every funeral. So, as everyone knows, that is the single most imperative life occasion for a Tibetan Buddhist. How an individual passes on and what kind of customs are conducted for their advantage can have a critical impact in securing for them a fortunate rebirth. One in which they may proceed to create advance toward edification. So, the main point here I want to share with everyone about 3 types of Tibet funeral custom. But the most noblest funeral custom in Tibet are super burial. But I would like to share with the others about the other type of funeral custom that are Tibet traditional did to return their corpse, which are sky burial, water burial, and cremation. So let's us go to further knowledge about this funeral custom in Tibet. The first one is sky burial, known as colossal funeral in Tibet. Sky burial is a traditional funeral rite and the most sacred funeral in Tibet. Based on Tibetan Buddhism, sky burial is accepted to speak to their wishes to go to paradise. It is the foremost way for commoners to burden with the dead in Tibet. Firstly, the sky burial is the transfer of a body to be eaten up by vultures. Family member of the corpse only can see the body being eaten by the vultures from far. After the corpse had been eaten up by the vultures, the family of the corpse will crush the skeleton into pieces. Usually, for crush the skeleton into pieces, they will use big axe to hit the bone and the skull. Referred to their belief, if the vultures come to eat the corpse, it is mean the person who died had no sin and can go into paradise peacefully. Then I would like to tell more details about the scariest part for the people who do not know the process of sky burial in Tibet. After the part of crushing skull was settled, they will take out the brain of the corpse and once again they will give it to the vultures to be eaten. Scary, is it? Then they will add flour, sugar, and butter after they finish crushing the skull and bones. And next, they will mix up it together, and then they will let the vultures bash it again and finishing the corpse. There are some reasons for Tibetan by finishing the funeral like that. It is because they need to make sure there are no pieces of the corpse left there. You guys may see this funeral as brutal way, but for real, this is how the process was handled by some of Tibetans for their funeral. To add some of information about this sky burial, this funeral usually takes places at a high place or mountaintop. Based on Tibetan belief, if Tibetan passes on, the body will wrap in white Tibetan clothes and will sit in a corner of the house for 3 days to 5 days. Amid which ministers or lamas are inquired to examine the sacred text out loud so that the souls can be discharged from the limbo. The family members will stop the other exercise and arrange to form a quiet environment to permit helpful entry for the risings of soul into paradise. However, the family of the dead will take off the clothes from the body after 3 to 5 days and they will settle the body into fetal position like the body is bowed into a sitting as a head against the knees. After that, the corpse will be sent to the mountaintop, which far away from the residential area. It is because some Tibetans said their vultures can sense if there is a death in development, so it chooses a place on the bit of mountain to end its life where human creatures cannot reach. So Tibetan believe that as it were the magnificent feather, creatures are competent for bringing the souls up to paradise. Besides, there are also taboos of a funeral in Tibet where the strangers are not allowed to be at the ceremony place. It is because the Tibetan believe that with the presence of stranger at the ceremony, they will bring negative endeavors to the rising of the souls. From my sharing about the sky burial funeral in Tibet, I think you guys will slowly understand and can gain some new knowledge about the sky burial funeral based on Tibet cultures. Okay, everyone, we will move to the second point, which is water burial funeral. In Tibet, the process of water burial funeral, usually the corpse will wrap with the white clothes and dispose of the waterway. Based on Tibetan belief, if people or children die because disease, their corpse will be thrown into the water or river to let the fish and water creatures eat the corpse. Water burials are basically within taking aftershaves. One of them is throw the full body into the stream. As a rule, two experts handle the burial service, which is to dissect the body and throw it into the river. In places where vultures are not accessible for sky burial, water burial is broadly embraced by commoners, and the ritual takes after the strict set of rules sacredly and gravely. There are two diverse seas of water burial. In ranges where sky burial is the prevailing practice, water burial is considered a second-rate way to arrange of poor people and those with low social status. On the other hand, water burial in Tibet also most familiar funeral in South Tibet. It is because the vultures are most likely to be in south rather than the north area. Some Tibetans usually will cut off the body first before throwing it into the sea or river, or other than that, just throw the whole corpse, and the corpse will end up eaten by the fishes or water creatures. This is why people in the south of Tibet do not eat fish, because the fish eat the corpse that were thrown by them. It is also because to respect the dead soul to live in peace. Furthermore, most poor people in Tibet only can afford to do water burial funeral if there is a death in their family. It is because the cost to do the other type of funerals, like sky burial and cremations, take higher cost where they cannot afford to buy the stuff and supplies for the funeral. The last one, Tibet funeral custom, is cremation. I guess everyone have been heard about this cremation funeral, since in our country also practice the same funeral when there is a death. Based on the book Encyclopedia of Cremation by Lewis H. Meads, cremation is one of the basic forms of human behavior joining together because it does fire and death, which is two of the foremost crucial highlights of presence. As to make everyone know, in Tibet, the cremation funeral is less noble than stupa burial, and it is only safe for high minister and privileged people in Tibet. In cremation, fire combined with that, not basically a full mechanical procedure of body combustion. Indeed, even though at certain times and certain cultures, that mechanical picture may prevail. The interesting part to learn is about the process of cremation. The cremation will carry out when the temperature reaches about 1,400 to 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit. The strongly warm makes a difference, diminish the body to its essential components and dry bone parts. This process, cremation, usually takes place in the cremation chamber, or known as crematory. Before the corpse being placed in the crematory, they will preheat first the crematory at a set point. Then they will instantly transfer the body through the mechanized entryway to make sure the heat loss did not happen. After the cremation, the metals that left behind will be removed by the magnet and left on the ground. So after that, the body turned into ashes, and it will be transferred to the container that was prepared by the family. Besides that, some factors are affecting to the cremation time. Usually, the time taken to cremate the body is around 1 to 3 hours. So, the first one is the execution of cremation supplies used. Secondly, the cremation chamber's temperatures. And the next one is the sort of cremation holder or casket in which the body is set and the rate of body back to incline the muscle mass. Then the last one is the weight or size of the body, also one of the reasons will affect the cremation time. So that is how the Tibetan handle the cremation funeral. Cremation funeral is a common funeral around the world. Other costume also using cremation funeral during their funeral ceremony. Okay, everyone. I would like to end my speech with some conclusion for the topic I recently talked about, which is funeral custom in Tibet. So, in conclusion, funeral custom in Tibet usually influenced by the natural environment. Beside the funeral, also influenced by Tibetan Buddhism. Tibetan believe that the ceremonies, custom, and practices are in agreement with Tibet Buddhism. They also believe that death is affected by Buddhist concepts like resurrection and transmigration to paradise, and for the smooth transmigration, there should not leave any trace of the corpse in the death. Okay. Type of funeral is a response to the social cultural ideas, and it is also a result of a certain natural environment. From the type of funeral, people will remember the contribution and every kindness that have done from the dead. Besides, they can express their feeling to the dead. So, the type funeral custom in Tibet is very important towards their cultures and society. Okay, so that's all from me. I will see you again in next time. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.